Righto guys, we're going to get into the business end of this. So we're going to take the 4/4 here, and the first thing we're going to do is stand it on its ear. Now, what I want to do is take as much value from this as I can. We're just going to remove the tongue, just come down either side nice and gently. Don't forget, we don't want to cut it, just keep a hold of it, clear it, and it'll just slide out of there, and out it comes. From there, we're going to go onto the JOWLS. So from here, arm on the hock. I just want to clear the outside. Just work it down all the way to the bottom until your knife comes out, and over the top. Now this is adding value to traditionally a very low value cut. You know, these wholesale out for $4.50 each. There's a whole head. Just clear both sides. Take the trim out. Coming over. Depending on your marketing plan, you should be able to get $11 or $12 for what's coming out of here at very little effort. So pushing it down, making sure you've cleared both sides. Come up over the top. And you're aiming for the atlas bone. You can hear it when you come through. Keep pushing down. Keep the blade pointed to the bench and roll over again. Take your time till you get your hang of it. All right, from there, just bring it to the back of the bench and push. You'll clear the cut, roll it over, so your head, so you can grab hold of the head, roll it over, trim any excess back. There's your bear skull. Now on your shoulders here, what I do next is come down inside, give it a flick. We're just lifting the trim meat over the top of the vertebrae. Spin it around, do the same on the other side. Keep the forearm high. And from there, set it up and just follow the ribs around. Come around the scotch and down. And there to there. So, from the front view, you just cleared it and just follow the bone down nice and easily. All you have to do is let the weight of the animal, the weight of the shoulder push down. Follow the scotch line down. Clear it. And just push back the other side. Keep the blade pointed down, away from the forearm. And the 4/4 bone out. So from here, you've basically butterflied it out. All I want to do now is remove the blood stain, take it all the way down. We don't want this in the small goods or in your roast, so discard it. Same on the other side. Bring it down, remove all that. From here, just take the gel off, directly across the shoulder. Same on the other side. I'll tidy that up in a minute. A little bit more spotting here, through the seam. And don't forget guys, when you do shoulder chops in the butcheries, you can't see this. So this is a key to take this out. So all we do now is follow the line down. So we've got two. From here, just whip the trotter off. Scotch fillet out to the edge of the blade bone. Here, follow it straight through turn it around, hard against the bone. When you're pushing down with the knife, push it on the side. That's what the knife's designed for. Take it through, pull it back, and I want the skin to remain intact here. Scotch out. From here, I want to leave as much of this in as I can, trimming as I go, taking the waste out. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to clip the blade bone through here. By pushing down on it, it opens the joint up. Come underneath, hard against the bone. Once again, pushing down on the blade, bring it out. Come to the top of the blade bone, clip it, down the other side, push back, clear it, and flick. Put your finger underneath, and just pull back. That bone in the waist, trim in its pile. Trimming as you go. Now from here, what I want to do is I want to come in over the top. I want to leave the gristle on the top of the ball joint on the ball joint so we don't have to trim it. So I come down, come along the bone. I'm actually going to bone this bone this hock. So I come all the way to the back, just push down. Coming down, same again, give it a push, roll it over, and just work your way around it gently. Take your time, flicking over the top, clear it, come in the other side, around the elbow, and it's out. So what I'm trying to do is all the connective tissue in amongst that meat, I actually want it to be on here. I don't want to have to spend time removing the gristle from here when it's easier and cheaper to leave it on the end. So we've got a boneless shoulder now. This one here, we're going to skin. So while it's sitting here like this, I want to keep as much skin as I can. Thumb on top of the blade, pick it up and keep looking underneath. Roll it back and keep pushing. Take your time, you don't want to cut through the skin. We're going to roll this piece back in the skin once it's been trimmed. And the key to the profitability on this is to use the skin. It's one of the most enjoyed pieces of the carcass is the crackle. So I'm going to take that off, put it to the side, remove the balance of skin over the hock. Once again, pull the skin, it'll come back. So from here, we've got the blade and the BOLAR and a line. Take that across. There, it falls into your trim. Under the BOLAR and the trim. This is the working part. Now, from here, there's a line of gristle coming through here, and there's a line here. Butchers sell meat, we don't sell gristle. So what we want to do is remove it on the run. So slide your blade underneath it, keep pulling back on it to keep it tight. and remove it. And once again, pick it up in your glove hand. There's the cross-cut blade. Follow it down, put your blade underneath it, pushing up, hold it up, take it all out from the end. There's one more spot where the gristle is quite thick. It's a connective tissue at the end here. Cut it round till you find the seam, turn it over and push back. So you end up with a line like that. Cut it back till it gets quite thin, come underneath. You can see your blade through it where it gets thin, that'll roast away. Pull it back, remove the gristle. You can tow your car with that. Put it across, remove any excess fat or anything that you'd think is going to offend the customer. From here, you've got to take that back fat out. If you roll up the roast and the fat's too big, it gives the impression of the roast being too big, too fat. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay it down. Once again, pick it up. Come underneath, just keep working it back. It has to be lean. So you've got a nice neat piece of skin now. The back fat into the salamis or small goods. From here. Now, scoring. If you want people to enjoy the crackle, you've got to score it correctly. As you can see, when you put it out on the table, you can see where you've left the pockets of fat. Turn them over. There's one here. Just edge it back a touch. There's one here. Lay it out, nice and flat, score it, give it a steel. Now, the secret is most knives at home are blunt. So what I want to do is I want to make it easier for the consumer. So drag your blade back by pulling the skin tight, about 1 centimetre. So if they have difficulty at home, at least they can cut down the score lines. So keep pulling it tight and your blade will come down. And all you're trying to do is cut the top layer of skin. You don't want any holes. Take the thin part off at the bottom and you're ready to go. So from here, what we need to do is work out the best value you're going to supply the consumer. So if I roll this over, is that too thick or too thin? It's really up to you what you can get away with in the store, what your consumer wants. Preference is to make it thinner. Your cooking time comes down and it makes it much more attractive through the weak option. I'm trying to get 2 out of here, so what I want to do is plane that back, fill the gap, so it's nice and square. So then I look at the thickness through. And there I am, ready to roll it. We use a catch freight of pork and crackle because it lets you use the same rolling method out of the leg cuts as well. So I just want the skin to tuck neatly into the edge. I don't want it wrapped right around 3 times. So I want to come through there. I'm going to use that later, so I don't want that wasted. Nice and tight. When you're stringing, come to the middle. Wrap it. Keep your strings on top so you can see the line. And tie outwards. Very simple half hitch. Keep the strings nice and tight. Don't over tie them. Don't pull too hard. Come to the end. Once again, if the presentation's right, it'll catch the eye of the consumer. So from there, trim them back, and that's what we're trying to present there. Something that'll cook in a short period of time. That's about 900 grams, I'm guessing. What I'm going to get there is you'll be able to cook that through the week. For a traditional larger roast or on the bone, you're looking for an hour, hour and a half. It's most important that the meal fits the unit size of the consumer at home. They tell me 61% of New Zealand homes have 2 or less people in them. So anything that weighs more than 900 grams, you're going to struggle selling on a regular basis. That's the pork and crackle. And we'll dress that up again later. This program's designed about adding value by using what's on the table. And what I mean by table is you've kept all the skin. You want to add value into your cutting model by using the skin wherever you can. So I'm going to take the next scotch out from this side. Once again, same as before, keep pulling the cut back. Remove the blood splatter. Trim the ends on that one. The Scotch fillet, this is all about the value chain now. This piece of Scotch retailing from anywhere between 1995 through to 21 is about the right costing model to add profit back through your line. We'll bone those, we'll make that smaller and neater shortly. We just want to take the rest of this out so we can continue adding value and depth to your pork display. Fold it back again. Take the blade bone out as before. Bring it to the back. Push on it to break the joint. Lift the joint up. Come underneath. Clear it. Finger under there. Give it a pull back, come over the blade. That's waste. Once again, boning the back. Blood splatter there. Remove it, gristle on the end. Right, start back from the ball joint. Again, bring it back. This time I want to take the hock off. So I bring it back till you hit the joint, which is just inside. come halfway back and look over the elbow, push down, lift it up, mark it through there, take the trotter off, mark your hock down, push it. Presentation wise, it always looks better if you've cut it off with the knife than using a bandsaw. It gives an authentic look about it. Okay, very popular in the restaurants at the moment. Slow braising, controlling the food costs. And once again, through the winter, which we're going to have to smoke it, cure it for the soup pots. So from here, we're just going to remove the rest of this, remove the arm bone. Over the top. Take the arm bone out. From here, there's a couple of things you can do. On this one here, we're going to cut a skin-on shoulder, boneless shoulder. So I want to come right round. I want to leave the skin on it, but I want it to look tidy. So from here, remove all the perceived nasties. Anything that doesn't look attractive doesn't help it sail, so remove it. Right, from here, we're going to make this into a boneless roast. Now this is where you get your pulled pork. It's where the consumer can take it home like that, slow braise it, or you can flavour it into a porchetta, which is mainly in New Zealand, flavouring of herbs and oil. It sits in the oil, the crackle always crackles. So from here I just lightly score it across. Depending on which cookbook you read, some score, some don't. There. Just remove the gristle, the hard end of the gristle, because you're going to braise this. The connective tissue should break up on this one. And there's your porchettas, or your shoulder for pulled pork. Once again, just miss that gristle line. Just want to take it out, stack it up. Interesting thing now, sausages are back are the flavour of the month. We've seen a huge jump in the retail price in small goods, for quality small goods, right throughout New Zealand. So there's no reason why you can't use quality ingredients. Sausages retailing from anywhere from $12.99 to nearly $20 have quality ingredients. And that's why I think New Zealanders have made the trend back to them, because they actually taste really good. There's gluten-free options, there's options on flavour, there's more flavours you can shake a stick at. So don't be afraid to putting the value back into them by putting quality trim in. So what we've done is we've given our display, just from the shoulders, a bit of depth. We've got scotches we can roll, which we'll do later. We've got shoulders for boneless pork, for pulled pork, slow braise. You've got pork mince with lean and no gristle. You've got trim for sausages with some fat, because you need them. You've got tongues, where you present them, crackling, and you've got ears. Ears are done two ways. One, they're dehydrated, and you see them in the pet food market, guys. There's no problems about doing them. These are worth a fortune. The other one is the restaurants are now deep frying them and cutting them into like chips almost. We've sold a few of those lately. Just want to show you what we do with the tongue. Overseas they call this a French tongue. So what they do is they split it as such, and then they salt it, and then use garlic on it. They let it braise. For the people that eat beef tongue, or our continental visitors, that's a delicacy right throughout Europe, from France to Russia. Lucky last on this is the pork JOWLS. As I said before, the restaurants all winter have purchased these And if the restaurants are purchasing them, the consumer will. Look at the rise in beef cheeks, short ribs, good old lamb shank. This is the next one. What you've got here is these are normally seasoned with salt, garlic and braised over a few hours, and then this pork is very sweet and it'll fall off the bone. The other one the top chefs have asked is to pinch the medallion out of here. As you can see, at 40 or 50 grams, there's not a lot. That is the sweetest part of the pork, in their opinion, and that's why they pay good money to have that removed. Throw those pork and crackles back in. The trotters for the Asian community are very popular. And that's the forequarter, folks.